Monday edition of Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Maddie Evans. Now, we love bringing you the latest and greatest information in news, sports, community activities, and the arts and entertainment taking place. So make sure that you tune in every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7 a.m. That way you can catch up with what's going on in and around our wonderful community. Now, so make sure that you stay tuned, but we're going to take a look at that local weather forecast to see if we have another storm system rolling in.
This resort report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Gretchen Pleshaw. I am so honored, so thrilled to have the amazing and brilliant director, Fernando Viana, from an incredible, I'm a little emotional, I'm not gonna lie, the incredible story of Jake Burton called Dear Writer. How are you doing, Fernando?
I'm doing great, Gretchen. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I am truly honored. I know I'm already getting a little emotional. Anyone that has already watched this fantastic film knows that Dear Writer is the life of Jake Burton, but I have to be honest with you. I originally went into it thinking, oh, this is just going to be an amazing historical piece about snowboarding and how Jake had this thought of, riding on the snow, surfing on the snow is exactly how he described it, and how snowboarding came to be, but it was so much more than that. I thank you, and it's such a great homage to his life. It's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as the history of snowboarding, it is a history of snowboarding, but told through Jake's eyes.
Yes.
And how he lived his life, and but it's also a celebration of his life.
That's what I love so deeply about this is Jake, as you know, something that Fernando and I both have in common is I was blessed enough to cross paths with Jake and be so lucky to get to know the man, the myth, the legend that is Jake Burton. He is one of a kind, as you know, Fernando, and I just feel honored that I got to meet him through the Burton US Open. He was one of the first human beings that believed in me to do interviews. He allowed me to do interviews of all the amazing writers at the Burton US Open. And I love that it shows the quirky, crazy side of him that we all love and know. And it also shows the very driven side of him as well. So it's it's definitely a story about human kindness, finding your truth, living your truth, and also just being happy and struggles and truth of life through cancer, through other things that he went through, the coma, et cetera, which I have to tell you, I never even knew that side of it. So You did an amazing job. And I know a little bit about you. I have a little bit of a backstory. I would love to hear how you got to meet Mr. Jake Burton.
I met Jake once when I interviewed to direct the film, and I got maybe 20 minutes with him, but I had put together a proof of concept that was about like 7-8 minutes long. And, thank God I got to show that to him because it was such an emotional moment. I think for him to experience another a filmmaker interpreting his life, interpreting his battle with Miller Fisher in a very kind of short, compressed time. It was great to see him be moved by it, and it just left such a profound impression on me. And I left there not really thinking I was going to get the job, but so grateful for the experience, so grateful to have the opportunity to show him the proof of concept and to just be able to feel his energy, and he's just such a lovely man. And what I remember the most about that experience is he tried to make me feel comfortable. a lot of times when you go to an interview, they're like feeling you out, right? But he was like the opposite. He was like, "You okay? Can I get you anything? Are you comfortable? Are you relaxed? Just sit here, sit next to me, that sort of thing." And yeah, it was different. It was different.
And one thing I love, and I know that you've seen firsthand, is the family, the community. The snowboarding community is such family, and you feel that deeply, and they take you in. And even this morning, someone that is in the movie that is one of Jake Burton's dearest friends that I know misses him very dearly, that you like to call Coxie, Mike Cox. I was messaging with this morning, and it is such a family, and it all started, and it is because of Jake Burton. And it's so profound, and it's felt so deeply throughout your film. And I think that's a side of him, so many people at the Burton US Open that met him loved this larger than life human, but we got to see the funny, dorky, cool side of him. And I know you got to see that firsthand just from one meeting. You said you were forever changed. So that's pretty awesome as well.
For sure. And the family aspect of snowboarding was something that I didn't know about because I'm not a snowboarder. But I loved the community. I loved how it was always a community from the very beginning, and how this Jake's trauma that he suffered when he was young. That he lost family members at a very young age, and this feeling of isolation, this feeling of being lonely, of independence. It's something that I think drove him to form a community, and form a community through snowboarding. And I think that is imprinted in the sport to a certain degree. As far as Jake passed before we started making the film, but me and everyone else in the project was committed that he tell the story as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right. To be the narrator of his film, and we tried very, very hard to pull that off. Right. To have him narrate his story, have him take us through the ups and downs, of his career, of his personal life, of his health struggles, and I think by and large we pulled that off, but that was something that was part of the game plan, and have Jake speak for Jake.
Something that really touched me during the film, the story that you did, it was so beautiful. The moments where he was indeed not able to communicate and coming out of the coma, and that he was writing to his friends, his family, and he was still keeping his wit about him. We can't really say the words that he used. Anyone that knows Jake and watches the film will know this exactly what I'm talking about. But he just never lost his love and his lust for life. And that is truly what I think. When you watch this film, you see a man that just had an idea, surfing on snow. That was his passion, his truth. And he taught all of us to live that truth and to truly go out there, live your passion and live it with joy, and not to take life so seriously. But now when you think about that, this man created snowboarding truly out of thin air, and that he did this and lived with such joy and truly lived. It's a pretty amazing. I don't know anyone else like that. I've never met one other human being like him. And I think that's truly what you drive home during this whole film, which is so beautiful.
Yeah, have as much fun as possible.
Yes.
And there's some beautiful moments in the film. One of his sons talks about this incident where he gave a little bird mouth to mouth, right? Yeah. Try to resuscitate this little bird that had just been attacked by a cat, and he goes, that's when I realized my dad has such an appreciation for life, right? And also he said he learned more about his dad through the cards that his dad was writing when he couldn't see, when he couldn't move. All he could do was move his hand, and he learned more about his father through those cards than he had his whole life. So I think if you distill it to one word, I would distill it to two words. It's passion and fun, right? It's follow your passion and have as much fun as possible, because we're not going to be here forever. And he, that legacy that he taught us, that way of living. I think it's one that I subscribe to now. So
Yes.
having as much fun as possible is to me, is a very profound way of looking at life.
I love that. I love it so much. And I love the film because it does give such a good background about snowboarding. And I know, touching base on this a little bit too, Burton is a huge entity. It's huge. It's all around the world. And you learn more about that in the film. So definitely stay tuned. And the highs and lows of that, like we have talked about, it is a beautiful thing. He brought snowboarding to so many human beings that would never, he created the whole concept. Also, many people thought he sold out. So you show the highs and the lows because, this man is seen as a god, the god of snowboarding. But he did go through people kind of giving him some gruff about it, and I love that you showed that. It's not an easy journey for anyone that wants to make a name, but he dealt with it with beauty and grace and kind of just kept on going.
The family, I have to give them all the credit because they said, as long as what you put in the film is accurate, we're not going to tell you to take anything out, right? As long as it's factual, right? And those things happened. I don't want to give anything away so people can watch it in the film, but yeah, he had missteps. He made some missteps, but he was human.
Right.
And I think for people to really connect to a character in a film, like really truly connect with them and have a character stay with them, they have to feel like the character is real.
Right.
And nobody's all good and nobody's all bad. So to paint a false portrait of somebody like they're all good or they're all bad, I think it would have been a disservice. But Jake always owned up to everything, and he learned. He was such a quick learner, right? Yeah, he thought snowboarding was going to be downhill. The future of snowboarding, the sport, was going to be downhill races, and he was
Right.
he was late. He was late to freestyle, but he made up for it. He was really good at changing course and adjusting. So, and that's really how we get this done, right? Being flexible.
I would like to say the last thing that I truly love about this is you hear Jake's voice throughout the whole film, and it makes you feel connected. I don't want to get emotional. It did make me emotional, so very emotional, both times I watched it, and it's so beautiful. You feel like he's just sitting next to you narrating his life, and it's amazing. And so I just want everyone to know we love Jake. We miss Jake so much, and this is a way to keep him alive. Fernando, where can people go and watch this Dear Writer, the Jake Burton story?
On HBO Max.
HBO Max.
And still streaming. It's I just wanted to reiterate that it is a celebration of his life, and it is a very joyful kind of message throughout.
Yes.
Yeah, there's tragedy at the heart of it, but the legacy that he left behind is a joyful one, and I think we tried really hard to instill that in the film.
Absolutely. I think the message I took away from it was to live your life to the fullest. We're not guaranteed a long time, but we're here for some time, and Jake definitely did that, just that. He lived his life and truly lived it to the fullest. Thank you so much, Fernando, for being with us. I can't wait to watch it again. Please head over to HBO Max, watch Dear Writer, the Jake Burton story. Thank you so much again, Fernando, and keep it right here for more to come.
Welcome back to Colorful Cooking with Tracy Miller. I am Tracy. Thanks for joining us here today. We're talking all about shrimp, how healthy and how easy it is to cook. So I have a farm shrimp, and I have a wild caught shrimp. So when you're getting ready to cook it, you kind of want to pat it dry. People are always amazed when I tell them this, but like even if I have a piece of fish or something, I will just gently squeeze it after it thaws out when it's frozen to get some of that excess water. Because if you're going to put it in your pan and you're going to try to get a sear on it, then you're not going to get rid of that excess water. It's going to kind of fill up in your pan and boil your shrimp, which is not what we are after. So just pat it dry a little bit with a paper towel, real gently too. You don't want to like manhandle those little tiny crustaceans. It's not going to taste as good. So real easy to peel. You just pull the tail off, flip it over, take the legs, and they should come off nice and easy. When you're working with the farmed fish, a lot of times they just have the tails on there, so you just pull those off really quickly. So season it generously with salt and pepper, and then a nice little ingredient that you can put on there, just a tiny, tiny bit of sugar. Why do we do that? It's just going to bring out the natural sweetness of the shrimp. And when we put it in the pan, it's going to help to caramelize a little. And literally, shrimp take about 5 minutes to cook. These are already pink shrimp, so we're not going to see them change a color, but a lot of times when they're a grayish color when they start, they just turn pink right away. So here we are. We're going to have those cook. I do have my salad started. This salad has cucumbers, sliced cucumbers, and peaches. If it's a really fresh peach, all you do is take a cut and go right around that. This is called the stone fruit. The seed is in the middle, and you should be able to turn it and open it up like that. That is the easiest way and the nicest way to open up a fresh peach. A lot of times the juice will be squeezing all over you, but not today because, like I said, it's not quite as ripe as it should be. All right, we're just going to slice these up really thin. Can you hear that shrimp cooking? It smells good already. Just a little bit of simple seasoning. I have my cucumbers, so I'm just going to put my peaches down. And as the shrimp are starting to cook, you'll see that their tails are turning a little bit, and then you just want to flip them over. This is literally going to take about 1 more minute. And the key to cooking any seafood and shrimp is don't overcook it. So right about this point, I'm actually just going to turn the heat off and let them cook that side right now real easily. So turn the heat off. They're already kind of firm to the touch. They've got a little caramelization. They're looking good. And now let's make a vinaigrette. We're going to go a little bit of olive oil, equal parts olive oil, orange juice. Orange juice is one of my favorite ingredients when I am making vinaigrettes because it's low in calorie. It gives it that nice flavor, and it's juicy and has that citrus, so you can use that quite often. All right, we're going to do a little bit of cinnamon. I'm actually going to get this one out right now because I need a spoon for cinnamon, because if you overdo it, you're going to be in trouble. So we're going to use about a teaspoon of cinnamon and almost a teaspoon of cumin. We're going to go a little bit less on the cumin because it's so strong. We're going to do those two right in there. And when you're working with dried herbs like this, you really want to let them sit in the juices for a little bit. So you want to make this and then let it sit. Not for a long time, but you do want to let it sit for a little bit. See, now shake it up. Okay, it's an interesting color. And that cinnamon is going to be dry right now. So the longer we let it sit right here, and I don't mean like days or anything like that. I mean, you can just let it sit for like a half hour or so. The longer we let it sit, the better it's going to taste. So let me get this out of the way and bring our salad in. The shrimp is looking good. I am going to plate this up and put our vinaigrette on. When we come back, we'll show you the finished product here, and then we'll get going with our farmed shrimp and make a delicious creamy shrimp salad. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Colorful Cooking with Tracy Miller. I am Tracy. Thanks for joining us here today. We're talking all about shrimp, how healthy and how easy it is to cook. We are just going to cut these into little pieces. Actually, a lot of times when I'm making the shrimp salad, I will put it in my food processor, but I didn't want to lug the food processor in here today. So we're just going to slice the shrimp up, kind of nice and easy. If you put it in a little row, put them all together. My whole family's from Florida, so they actually have shrimp nets like right outside on their docks, and we eat the freshest shrimp you can possibly imagine. Mayport shrimp in Florida is delicious. Really, if you can get any shrimp from the Texas, the Gulf of Mexico, or Florida, you're going to be in pretty good shape with that flavor. And again, just don't overcook it, and you'll be tasting it and enjoying it. Okay, so here we go. We have our shrimp cut up into small pieces for the shrimp salad. And this one, Sorry, I'm gonna add a few calories to this because it's gonna be nice and creamy. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a mixture of sour cream and mayonnaise. Now, I'm a huge mayonnaise fan. I love eggs, I love mayonnaise, but mayonnaise alone sometimes when you're making a salad like that, it's just a little too strong. So I like to mix mine with a little bit of sour cream. I actually do a half and half. 50% sour cream, 50% mayonnaise. Tons of salt and pepper. Either use dill or use tarragon. And if you're ever cooking lobster, tarragon is really, really good. It has all these little like leaves like this, and all you do is pull the leaves right off of the stems, and then we're gonna chop them up. It's super easy, super fragrant, and it kind of has like a licorice type of flavor to it. So we're just gonna take those right off. Actually, I just do it that way. Take them off that way. You can really put any herbs you want in here. If you would prefer, you know, parsley or something like that, you can do that. Really making something that turns out to be in your recipe repertoire all the time. All right, super simple. Cut up cooked shrimp. We have tarragon, salt and pepper, mayonnaise, and sour cream. We're just gonna kind of fold it all together and make ourselves this nice creamy salad. This is so good. I eat this just by itself, and I do a lot of this in like little individual cups, and people love it. And you can either eat it by itself, you can eat it on a salad, you can eat it with crackers or crudité if you wanted to, or you can put it in a wrap and take it out on a picnic. One of the things though about wrapping up creamy dishes, there's a little trick, especially if you want to take it out on your picnic. So right now, we're just gonna put it on our bed of lettuce. This would be a nice little light lunch for you, packed with protein and vitamins and minerals, nice and light and delicious with a little bit of creaminess. I'm gonna put a little more salt and pepper right on there, especially pepper. And then when we return, I will show you how to wrap that in a tortilla. So if you want a sandwich, if you're going on a hike or something, hitting the lake or the river, we're gonna wrap that. I'm gonna give you a few tips on how to make those wraps still taste good and not get too soggy if you're going on a picnic. Welcome back to Colorful Cooking. I'm Tracy Miller. Thanks for joining us here today. We are talking about shrimp, and we just made a shrimp salad with a creamy mayonnaise sour cream base, and we used tarragon today, which is actually delicious. I was crying a little bit because I didn't have the dill that I usually like to use with my shrimp salad. Have to compromise when you're using fresh ingredients, and that tarragon, it tastes really good. So start with some lettuce, and make sure your lettuce is dry. Like I've been telling you, kind of all day here, is dry things off, because all of that moisture is going to make your wrap mushy, and it's going to make your shrimp boil when you're putting it in the pan. So I have the shrimp salad here. I'm just going to put that down right on top, and I'm going to take a little bit of the mayonnaise base and kind of make like a little bit of glue to seal it closed. I love making wraps. I don't know why, I just really like rolling things. So take it like that. Pull it all out your way, move your fingers around so that you know that like you're gonna get a good bite on every sandwich, and then just roll that baby up. That glue right there is gonna seal it closed. And then I like to cut it in half. And when I'm making wraps and I'm getting ready to go on a picnic, or usually I'm getting ready to cater or go on a gig or something like that, what I do is I just put the wrap in the fridge uncovered until I'm ready to wrap it up. Because if you wrap it up in cellophane, what's gonna happen is it's gonna get all mushy. And since we have a creamy base, you want some mayonnaise on your sandwich, when you're making wraps, you wanna have a layer. You wanna have that lettuce layer to protect the mayonnaise on the inside and the wrap. Seems simple, but you can really kind of make a mushy sandwich if you're having it wrapped up for a little while. So we've got the two salads today. For the shrimp salad with peaches and cucumbers, and that's in a cumin cinnamon vinaigrette. And then we will also have the recipe here for you with the shrimp salad, which I'm gonna say you're probably gonna like a lot. Thanks for joining me here on Colorful Cooking today. Eat shrimp, it's low in calories, high in protein, and really good for you.
resort report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. I cannot wait to see you on Friday. Make sure that you tune in at 7 a.m. And if you so much for tuning in, I've been your host, Maddie Evans, and I can't wait to see you Friday morning.